My name is Stephen Thrasher with the Village Voice Run and Scared blog, and I'm here in the studio of Arlene Gottfried, here to talk about her new book,
Bacalaitos and fireworks.
Bacalaitos.
Baca, like bacalao.
All right.
That's what it is. They're bacalaitos, like a little fried codfish.
How did you get the idea for this book?
Well, I've been involved in the Puerto Rican culture since my Brooklyn neighborhood, growing up in Brooklyn. And it became a neighborhood that they refer to as white flight. So my new neighbors came from largely were Puerto Rican, and African American. I started my photography then, and those are really some of my first images were of my neighbors and friends in Brooklyn.
So let's take a look at some of the pictures that are in the book.
This one is Miguel Algarin, the director and founder of the Poets Cafe. One of the founders. He was a founder with Miguel Pinheiro, who was a very good friend of mine, as well as Lucky Cienfuegos. Those were the three Puerto Rican poets that founded the cafe. We were together, I don't remember, we were walking down 2nd Avenue, and Miguel bumped into someone, and they said that there was a funeral for Richie Cruz, who had been one of the conga players with these guys, and we wound up going to the funeral, and Miguel had his poetry book, and that's the eulogy, one of his poems, and the congueros were playing, and he died of AIDS. This one, I call it Camping Out. I couldn't think of of another title for it because it has this blanket that they set up using part of the park bench as a tent, and you could see the little baby under there. And I used to go to all the festivals, and there was a festival, I think this one was San Juan Bautista, John the Baptist, and it was at Ward's Island. And I don't know, I used to always have fun and walk around, eat something, listen to music, and take pictures. This one was on a Sunday in the summer, so I had gone out and I was looking for my friend, Midnight, actually, and I was walking around the Lower East Side and with my camera, and I wasn't sure. I had no destination, and then I see this parade of girls, from that had their communion. So I saw this procession, and I thought, well, I'll go with them,
And are those televisions actually working that are on?
Yeah,
Wow.
so then I walked around the Lower East Side with them, and they came up 13th Street, and they used to plug in the TVs to the electricity in the lamppost in the bottom. There was a way they figured out to open it and use the electricity. So.
And Midnight you wrote an entire book about, right?
Yeah. El Cotorito, this is actually, everyone thinks this is a woman because she's done up so well, but it was really a drag show that was in Puerto Rico, and they had another club in the South Bronx. And after I met them, this is in San Juan, after I met them there, I also went to photograph them in the Bronx at one of their shows. And it's just what it is, they were leaving, and I took the picture in the car, and I love her. She's just amazing. Makeup. This is a very early picture that was in the house of a friend of my sister, actually. And we went over there, and I started photographing, and someone put the little baby down on the chair, and I just took a picture, nothing set up.
That woman looks familiar.
Yeah, a long time ago. That's about when June of 1980. I remember it because it's about when I first met Pinheiro. And he said, there'll be a bus in front of the Time Life building taking people up to the South Bronx to film the movie Fort Apache. Paul Newman was in that. And this one, you know, the Bronx was really, really the way it looks in the picture, you know, abandoned buildings. And so I was taking photographs of him before he had to go off and do whatever his part for the movie.
This is a beautiful street corner here.
Yeah, I was on the way to Ward's Island, actually. This is up in Spanish Harlem. And I was crossing the street, and that's what I saw. I took one shot and kept walking.
Do you remember what intersection this was?
You know, I'd have to look up the intersection or rather, the street that connects to Ward's Island. I can't remember. Just I'd have to look it up. This was in a schoolyard on the Lower East Side. I just wandered in, and I was taking pictures, and then you take pictures, and then people start looking at you, and I mean, they didn't mind it. Sometimes people don't like it. This one is an interesting one to me because I was with my sister. We were in El Barrio. I don't remember exactly why we went up there that day, but we were walking around, and she decided to leave me up there. So I walked around with my camera a little while, and then I saw this girl with her grandmother near the stoop of her building. And I took a picture, and then the grandmother said, "Come up, we're having a party." It was her cousin's baptism. So it was Halloween weekend, and that's why they had the mask. So the little girl put on the Snow White mask, and she had her party dress on.
And here's the last picture we're going to look at.
This, too, it was a summer, afternoon. I think it was on a Saturday. And I had been walking around the Lower East Side photographing. And a woman was coming towards me, and she said, "Oh, I'm so glad you have a camera. Wait until you see what's down the street." So as soon as I got a few feet ahead, I saw this, pig being a barbecue outside in a lot. And the pig was on the spigot, and the coal, and the little kids were there, and that's...
The one little boy looks horrified.
That's what I saw, and that's the picture I took.
Well, thank you, Arlene. The name of the new book, I'll let you say it so I don't butcher it, is?
Bacalaitos and Fireworks. It's Bacalaitos. Can I just tell the story real quick?
Yeah.
And, it's the reason I gave it the title was that also around July 4th one summer, I was photographing around Avenue B and 3rd Street, the block where the cafe was, the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. And there was a street vendor out there, and he was saying, selling, he was shouting, "Bacalaitos and Fireworks," and I thought that says it, like the Bacalaitos, the Cuchi Fritos for the Puerto Rican culture, the food from the island, and the fireworks for the American 4th of July. So that phrase stuck in my mind, and the book that took 20 years to come out, thank God it's here.
Thank you.
Thanks.